and after vaccination, after some certain period of vaccination, then we are going to record again the antibody count. And one individual, how many observations you recorded? Before and after vaccination, right? 2 observations you recorded, right? The 2 observations we call as a paired observations. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So when there are paired observations, you are going to use paired t-test. The name is called as a paired t-test. Okay.
Okay, so sir, so we are basically taking the observation of the same individual before and like after the vaccination.
Yes.
Okay, okay, sir.
Then you will come to know that is there any difference of vaccination in producing the antibodies? Whether that difference is a significant difference or a negligible difference. Understood?
Yes, sir.
If the difference is a negligible difference, there are 2 kinds here. Remember, once after taking the vaccination, your antibodies count may be declining. There may be a chance. After taking the vaccination, your body can produce more antibodies, or after the vaccination, your body may not produce any new antibodies, or there is no decline. Understood?
Yes, sir.
All the possibilities need to address and study it deep, because the vaccination process, when they are going to normalize to various age groups, and depends on the immunity system of the concerned individual, how well the vaccination is going to affect on the body, to be studied in deep. But though they are taking the 3rd phase trial of vaccination now, it is still under trial. The trial is called as a 3rd phase trial, I think so. The 3rd phase trial is giving on the mass of public and different age groups, and they are studying. But my appeal is that on every individual, they are supposed to record what is the antibody generation before giving just before the vaccination and after some period of the vaccination, what they are specifying. So like, after taking the vaccination, at least it takes a time of 1 week or 2 weeks. They say that for optimal production of or generation of the antibodies, let them say whatever the optimal period they say. After that optimal period, we can again start taking the antibodies count on the same individual and need to test it. But as soon as they are going to vaccinate the people, they are not looking at what is the antibody count in their body, and after the vaccination, what is the antibody count on them. If there is no development of antibodies in the body, then the kind of individuals have likely chance of infecting with the COVID again, even with adverse symptoms. Then that can go into the next phase of dangerous zone. So therefore, though they are giving the vaccination to every individual, this also parallelly to be studied very well. That is my opinion only. Okay. Yeah. Very well. Now let me look at the examples on paired t-test. A paired t-test. So like, as you know, the paired observations such as the nitrogen and no nitrogen, before and after, with and without. Okay. This kind of cases where it is coming, you are going to record the observations as a pairing structure. Then it is supposed to be taken as a paired observations of data. Okay, in that case, you can go and use this paired t-test, where the t-test statistic is given by equation 6. T is given by d bar. This d bar is the mean of di's. What is di then? Di is the difference between the paired observations. Difference between the paired observations. And mu d is the mean, population mean, and SD is the sample standard deviation on these di's. Using equation 6, we can find out the test statistic value, and this test statistic value will be compared with the degrees of freedom n-1 to the critical value. Once we compare it, if the t observed value is staying below the critical value, we do accept the null hypothesis. Otherwise, we are going to reject the null hypothesis. Okay. Let us look at the examples. Now, assuming that the populations of androgen at time of injection and 30 minutes later are normally distributed. Hello. Assuming that the populations of androgen are individuals at the time of injection and after 30 minutes of injection are normally distributed. This is an assumption, but this assumption exactly follows or may not exactly follows, but without the normal distribution, you cannot go with this. Without this assumption, you cannot go and apply the t-test. Okay. So what are all the observations are there? You assume that they follow approximately normal distribution. Means that approximately bell shape. When you are going to plot the kind of data, it's approximately seems to be bell shape. Then what we are interested to test the 5% level of significance, whether the androgen concentrations are altered, means that any change is there after 30 minutes of the injection. That means remains constant, or any change is there, that we need to test from the following data. Sometimes if you're getting fever, what we do? Immediately you may go to the doctor, or
So we often take some home remedies.
home remedies. The first phase is you start with taking home remedy, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, still it is not recovered. Then
So
the
then we
second
go to
step.
doctor.
The second step, you will go to the doctor, or you will go into the pharmacy shop.
Yeah, so we go to pharmacy and we buy a crocin or something.
Yeah, you are trying to go to pharmacy and you may purchase one paracetamol tablet, right?
Yes, sir.
And then start consuming the tablet. After consuming the tablet, before taking the tablet, what is your temperature level? And after 1 hour or 2 hours of consuming the tablet, what is your temperature level? Is there any difference?
Yes, sir.
If there is a difference, the medicine is working effectively on your body. Understood?
Yes, sir.
If there is no difference, the difference is a negligible difference or a significant difference is matters. Suppose before taking the medicine, the temperature is something like 99.2 degrees. Okay. And after taking the medicine, after 2 hours, it is again 99.1 degree. There is no significant difference. Let us assume that 1 degree of temperature difference is not a significant difference. Then it is advised to go to the hospital, and it is necessity to investigate your blood sample to know that what kind of viral fever it is, whether it is a viral fever or dengue fever, or it is need to classify the type of fever. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So this is very important. Okay. Whether even after taking the medicine, the temperature is reduced, then after some time again started increasing the temperature. So there may be a chance of viral fever kind of things. Okay. Come and go fever. Okay. So therefore, accordingly, the blood investigation is needed. Then a physician will look into the details of blood reports, and accordingly they will advise the proper medication. Right?
Yes, sir.
So in that process, that kind of, before taking the medicine, what is the temperature, and after taking the medicine, what is the temperature, can also addressed under the t-test. Okay. So here something like that, the injection, before injection, or at the time of injection, what is the androgen count, and after 30 minutes of the injection, what is the androgen count. Okay. So at the time of injection, say we have 15 individuals. So 2.76, 5.18, 2.68, and so on. This is the individual count of androgen at the time of injection. And this is 30 minutes later or after the injection. So when 2.76 is one individual, the androgen count is increased here, right? See that 7.02, right?
Yes, sir.
And the very first individual. Whereas in the second case, the second individual, at the time of injection, the androgen count is 5.18. And the third, the same case after 30 minutes, what happened?
So decreased to 3.10.
Decrease. It may happen even in the case of antibodies after taking the vaccination. Understood?
Yes, yes, sir.
But this kind of data no one is revealing to publicly. Understood what I mean to say so far?
Yes, sir.
If the data is available in the public domain, people can use it for a lot of research work. Okay. Because you and me cannot go and test it. Okay. But we can do research with available data. Though we are not belong to the, that domain, we can do a lot of research on that. Well, the third case, 2.68 at the time of injection, whereas after the injection of 30 minutes, again increasing. See that. In most of the cases, the androgen count increased, except one or two individuals. Like 10th case, 10th individual, 7.30 at the time of injection, and after 30 minutes, it is fall down 4.85. Even 11th individual, 11.78, 11.10, 3.90, and 3.74. There is some small decrement. Here, see that there is a very big sharp, rise on the 13th individual. At the time of injection, the androgen count is 26, whereas after 30 minutes, it went to 94. See that. Understood? How the same injection is going to work on various individuals. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Your antibodies may not be equal to my antibodies. Similarly, if you take 20 people whose antibodies are not same, right? Though we all healthy genders, the antibodies may differ. When the antibodies are differing, how these antibodies reacts to the vaccination is very, very important to be studied in deep. Okay. It may take a lot of time, but to be addressed very carefully, because the vaccination is giving across the continents, but the human body across the continents is not same, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Therefore, when they are going to normalize across the continents, they have to see the body various parameters across the continents. Okay. Well, now what are DIs? DIs are the difference between the before and after, like 7.02 minus 2.76. Is it 4.26?
Yes, sir.
Right? So these are the DIs. Now, what is the mean of this DI? That is called mu D. Sorry, not mu D, D bar. D bar. Mu D is the population mean of these deviations, and SD is the standard deviation of these DIs. So the values are given in the next slide. From the given data, we get N is 15, D bar is 9.848, and the standard deviation of the DIs is observed as 18.474. Now, there is no much significant androgen release. What we assume always in the null hypothesis, what we assume in the null hypothesis.
So that the
So
difference
injection
is not significant.
Yeah, is not going to show any significant release of androgen count. Okay.
Yes, sir.
That means before and after the injection, there is no much significant difference in the androgen count, isn't it? So when there is no much significant difference, the difference between mu1, that means before the or at the time of injection and after 30 minutes of the injection, is almost same the values. That is what our assumption in the hypothetical statement H0. So mu1 minus mu2 is 0. And its complement H1 will be?
So its complement would be mu1 minus mu2 would be greater than 0.
Greater than 0, or whether the claim is like that? No. Whether we need to test that androgen concentration increasing after 30 minutes of the injection? It can even below the 30, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Therefore, both the chances are there. So it is a two-tailed alternative hypothesis. When it is a two-tailed, mu1 minus mu2 difference is?
Is not equal to 0.
Right. Mu1, that means
Yes.
mu1 minus mu2 is not equal to 0 means mu1 is not equal to mu2, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Right?
sir. Yes, sir.
Next, level of significance we can choose as 5%, that is 0.05. For two-tailed case, what would be the critical region? T is less than minus T nu comma alpha by 2, and T is greater than T nu comma alpha by 2, right?
Yes, sir.
Where T nu alpha by 2 is given as 2.145. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And test statistic T, what is the formula for test statistic now? D bar minus D minus mu D divided by SD divided by under root N. So here D bar is there, SD is there, mu D is assumed to be 0 here. Okay. Now D bar is 9.848, mu D is 0, SD is 18.474 divided by N. N is divided by root N. N is 15. Substitute and verify is the value is 2.06 or something different. Can you substitute the known values here in your calc and check the value of T?
Yes, sir. It is 2.064.
Okay. Now, what is the critical value there which is available to us?
2.145.
Now, this 2.06, is it falling in the critical region? That is minus infinity comma minus 2.145 and 2.1452 infinity. Is it falling in that domain?
No, sir.
No. If it is not falling in that domain, then Whether
So
you
we'll accept
accept
the null hypothesis.
the null hypothesis or reject the null hypothesis.
So we will accept it.
So if you are going to accept the H naught, when you are going to accept the H naught, what is your conclusion?
So that there is no significant difference in the level of androgen before and after the injection.
Right. Understood?
So can you show the question once again? Just
But some data, what it shows, say that one individual, there is a androgen count at the time of injection is 26, and after 30 minutes of injection, it went to 94. And another individual case, 67 at the time of injection. After the injection, after 30 minutes of the injection is 94, and another individual 17, and after 30 minutes of the injection is 41. There are certain bodies whose androgen count by looking at the data seems to be higher, but statistically it is showing that that difference is not a significant difference. Understood, my dear students?
yes, sir.
The importance of the statistical technique now. When it is
Yes, sir.
not, suppose when they tested the vaccination on certain genders, the healthy genders, okay, rarely, if they are falling in the case of 13, 14, 15, assuming that this same thing is representing the antibody count, okay, and others are like this, can we claim that in this case vaccination is effective in all the individuals in producing the antibody count? If this is the data for antibody count. Hello,
Yes, sir.
can we say that vaccination is effective?
No, sir, we can't say. No,
Why?
sir.
Because why you are not saying no? Why you are saying no?
So because there is
Because there
no
is no
significant
evidence.
difference.
There is no evidence. There is no evidence that the vaccination is significantly producing or generating the antibody count if the data is related to the antibody count. But as of now, it is androgen count. There is no evidence, strong evidence to say that the injection, what they are giving to us, is going to produce, okay, more androgens.
And so
If
how are we
androgens produced
calculating?
more, what will happen? There are a lot of other consequences,
Yes, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, someone
So
is
how?
speaking and expressing some doubt.
Yes, sir. Sir, how are we calculating the D bar?
D bar is the mean of these differences. Where are the differences?
So DI.
7.02 minus 2.76. This is DI. What is D bar?
Yeah.
Mean of the deviations.
Answer SD.
SD is the standard deviation of these DIs,
Okay, okay, sir.
right?
Yes, sir.
Any doubt? Any doubt on this example?
Oh, no, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Right. So do you understand the concept of t-test and its importance?
Yes, sir.
Whether you understood very well or not?
Yes, sir. We understood.
Okay, good. Move on to the next test. The next test is F-test. So what did you notice so far in the testing of hypothesis, particularly on large sample test Z-test and the small sample test T-test? Do you identified any gap? Hello? We focused in large sample Z-test or T-test mainly to test the difference of means, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you think that always the difference in means would separate the samples? In the sense, suppose even you take two samples from the same class, would their means are same?
No, sir.
There is some difference, right?
Yes, sir.
But you have taken the two samples from the same population only. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Then in such case, how do we say that the two samples have taken from the same population? Is there any other parameters need to be tested to conclude that the samples may come from the same population? If so, what are other parameters we can take into the account to test? Mean is the central measure in the first module, right?
Yes, sir.
What are other measures in the first module you learned? Central measure you learned. What is the other measure you learned? One is measures of central tendency, and the other one is, that is also central measure, right? Quartiles also. Measures of central tendency, then measures of in central measures you have chosen one parameter that you tested so far. What is the other measures? What are other measures we have apart from central measures in the first module? This much of time
So
you are
we-
taking,
So we have measures of variability.
right? What is the most important parameter under measures of variability?
So variance.
Yes, that we are going to test now. Measures of central tendency, measures of variability. Measures of central tendency, measure we have taken mean that tested so far, and under measures of variability we are taking the standard measure as a variability variance that we are going to test. Now if you have two samples, whether the two sample variances remain same or is there any difference? Understood? The variability present in the two samples is remain same or any difference, not only just looking at the means. Okay, right?
Yes, sir.
If
Yes,
you
sir.
are interested to test the variance present in the two populations or in the two samples, you have to go for F test. Of course, this test is not given by R.A. Fisher. To honor R.A. Fisher, a statistician whose name Snedeker, who designed the F distribution, but to honor R.A. Fisher, the first letter of Fisher is F. The Snedeker technique has been named as F test. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, so now this is the F distribution. Frequency distribution of F. Little f of capital F is given by k times f to the power nu1 by 2 minus 1. Nu1 is the degrees of freedom, first sample degrees of freedom, whole divided by 1 plus nu1 by nu2 times f whole to the power nu1 plus nu2 by 2, where nu2 is the second sample degrees of freedom. First sample degrees of freedom is n1 minus 1 if the size of the sample is n1, and the second sample degrees of freedom n2 minus 1 if the size of the sample is n2. And this f is lies in between 0 to infinity. And there is one assumption that normally we do take the larger sample variance in the numerator and smaller sample variance in the denominator in order to make f is greater than 1. Okay. So mean and variances are not required. F distribution depends upon the nu1 degrees of freedom, that is numerator degrees of freedom, as well the denominator degrees of freedom n2 minus 1, which are known as degrees of freedoms. F distribution tends to normal distribution when nu1 and nu2 approaches to infinity. F distribution depends not only is not depending upon the population variances, remember. To test the difference between two population variances, a test statistic is given by F is equal to S1 square upon S2 square, where S1 square is larger than S2 square. And this is approximately follow F distribution with the degrees of freedom nu1, nu2 is equal to n1 minus 1, n2 minus 1. The more this ratio deviates from 1, the stronger the evidence for unequal population variances. Means that this is going far away to the 1, indicating that there is an evidence for unequal population variances. Okay. Look at this figures. In the case of right-tailed alternative hypothesis, the critical region is this alpha. Okay. F alpha be the critical region, remember here. The alternative hypothesis sigma 1 square is greater than sigma 2 square. This is the portion where you are going to reject the null hypothesis. If your F value is falling in this domain, you can reject the null hypothesis. If your alternative hypothesis is a lower tailed alternative hypothesis, if your F calculated value is falling in the shaded region, then you are going to reject the null hypothesis. If your alternative hypothesis is a two-tailed alternative hypothesis, and if your F value is falling in the shaded regions like F1 minus alpha by 2 and F alpha by 2 regions, this is F1 minus alpha for lower region, this is F alpha for upper region, and this is F1 minus alpha by 2 for lower region, and for upper region here F alpha by 2 for two-tailed case. Okay. The larger variance should always be placed in the numerator. So these are certain assumptions. Divide alpha by 2 for two-tailed test and then find the right critical value. The samples must be independent. The populations from which the samples were obtained must be normal. One example to quickly wind up this F test. Someone can read the question.
So the question says that one of the quality measures of the blood glucose meter strips is the consistency of the test results on the same sample of blood. Suppose two types of strips A and B are compared for their respective consistencies. We arbitrarily label the population of type A strips population 1 and the population of type B strips population 2. Let 16 and 21 strips respectively from type A strips and type B were selected and tested with blood drops from a well-shaken vial. Let the variance in glucose readings using type A from a sample of 16 strips was 2.09. From the other sample, it was 1.10. Test at the 10% level of significance whether the data provides sufficient evidence to conclude that the consistencies of two types of strips are different.
What did you understood? What exactly we need to test now? We need to look at the consistency of the two strips, right?
Yes, sir.
In order to look at the consistency, in the first module, what parameter you calculated there?
So we calculated the glucose readings.
Here in this glucose reading here, but in the first module, what parameter you have used to look at the consistency?
Coefficient of variance.
Right. Who said the answer?
Sir, Tejaswini.
Tejaswini, right answer, Tejaswini. In the coefficient of variance, the key parameter is that the standard deviation. Okay. Well, understood? Hello, my dear students.
Yes, sir.
Square of the standard deviation is the variance, right? Whose variance is larger, the corresponding sample may not be consistent enough. Coefficient of variance when we go is, if the units may have, if the samples may have different units, then still we wanted to normalize them by taking the coefficient of variance, and hence we can conclude by the coefficient of variance. Without going into the coefficient of variance, if the units are having the same, if the samples are defined on the same units, there may chance even likely to conclude that with the help of variances. Okay. So therefore, the variance parameter is important here. Okay. So we need to look at the variance of the first sample and variance of the second sample. Is there any data in the question, variance of the first sample and the second sample?
Yes, sir.
Let the variance in glucose readings using type A from the 16 strips. Type A, how many strips you have? 16, that is N1 is 16. What is the variance?
So 2.09.
2.09. The other sample variance is
1.10.
1.10. How many strips you have for the other sample?
21.
21. So N1 is
16.
16.
N2 is
21.
N2 is 21. N1 is 16, N2 is 21. V1, this is for the variance of the first sample, is 2.09, right?
Yes, sir.
And V2, the variance of the second sample is 1.10, right?
Yes, sir.
What is the level of the alpha we need to test? 10%, right?
Yes, sir.
It is 0.1, right? 10%. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Now, what is the null hypothesis? What is the
So that
alternative
there is no.
hypothesis? That means the two strips are consistent, you are assuming, right? In the null hypothesis.
Yes, sir.
So if the two strips are consistent enough, their population variances V1 is equal to V2. Population variances. These two are the sample variances. Remember, the population variances capital V1 and capital P2, V2, or sigma 1 square is equal to sigma 2 square. Sigma 1 square is equal to sigma 2 square. These are population variances. And what is the alternative hypothesis? Sigma 1 square is not equal to sigma 2 square, right?
Yes, sir.
They are not consistent. Well, now alpha is defined critical region. As it is a two-tailed, what is the critical region? F 1 minus alpha by 2 F observed value is less than F1 minus alpha by 2, or F is greater than F alpha by 2. Of course, we can also add nu1, nu2 degrees of freedom. Nu1, nu2. Okay. So let us look at which sample is having larger variance in the given data.
Sir, sample is a type A.
Type A. So whose degrees of freedom N1 minus 1 QF. Alpha is how much here? 0.1, right?
Yes, sir.
Alpha by 2, how much?
So 0.05.
0.05. 1 minus 0.05, how much?
So 0.95.
So QF of 0.95, comma, nu1, that is the degrees of freedom for the first sample N1 minus 1, comma, nu2, the degrees of freedom for the second sample N2 minus 1. What is the value of QF? under this?
So 2.203.
Right? Now let us look at f alpha by 2. F alpha by 2. Alpha by 2 how much?
So 0.05.
0.05. So actually here I made a small error. Yeah. This is less than, f is less than to this and f is greater than to this. CR I supposed to edit. Where we have larger critical value here, right? And smaller is this. Okay. Well. Now, let me go for f test statistic. F is equal to S1 square, that is V1 square. Yeah, sample variance itself, V1 itself is V1 square, V1 divided by V2. What is the value of V1 divided by V2? 2.09 by 1.10, how much? Hello.
So it is 1.9.
1.9. Now, what does it mean? Is the 1.9 value below the above the 2.2?
No, sir.
Is it below the 0.42?
No, sir.
That means this 1.9 is not falling in the critical region. When it is not falling in the critical region, we do accept the null hypothesis. When we are going to accept the null hypothesis, the population variances of the two strips are almost same. We can conclude that the two strips are consistent enough in measuring the glucose levels. Okay, from the blood sample. Understood?
Yes, sir.
So this is popularly we use F test for testing the variances. So in this module, chi-square is there, followed ANOVA is there. If time permits, we will discuss it on the Saturday, and then we will move on to the 7th module. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any doubts before ending the session? N1 is 16, N2 is 21, S1 square, S2 square, sigma 1 square is equal to sigma 2 square, H1 sigma 1 square is not equal to sigma 2 square, F1 minus alpha, that is F.95 is 0.43. The left lower critical region, F alpha by 2, this is something like 2.20, thus the critical region is this thing, okay? And our observed value 1.9 is not falling in the union of these intervals, hence we do accept our null hypothesis. Okay, once we are going to accept the null hypothesis, what is our conclusion? The data do not provide sufficient evidence at the 10% level of significance to conclude that there is a difference in the consistency as measured by the variance of the two types of test strips. Okay, right? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Any doubts? Any doubts? And the next, sometimes, instead of giving the variances directly, you may need to calculate the variance. Okay, this question, the nicotine contents of in milligrams in two samples of tobacco were found to be as follows. Can you say that the two samples are drawn from the same normal population? For this example, what we need to test? Hello?
So the difference is significant.
Yeah, what we need to test actually?
So whether the samples are drawn from this same population.
Or not, right?
Yes, sir.
In that case, what test you are going to suggest?
So F test.
So F test is used to test the difference of proportion. Sorry, what is that? Population variances, right?
Yes, sir.
Then if the population variances are same, is there a chance that their sample means can be different?
Yes, sir.
So if the sample means and population variances remain same or almost equal, then only we can conclude that likely the samples have taken from the same normal population, remember. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Therefore, you need to test first F test on this to test the population variances are same or not. If the population variances are same, then you can go ahead for the testing of sample means as well. Okay. So basically, you need to test the sample means, but we need an assumption on the in the sample means that the population variances are equal or unequal. Okay. If the population variances are equal, you can go ahead with the population variances equal assumption formula. If population variances are unequal, you go ahead for the unequal population variances are unequal formula. Okay, which I explained in the t-test case. So both T and F need to apply for this example. Okay, in order to make
Yes.
appropriate conclusion. Well,
Sir, can you please explain how the t-test also need to apply?
so simple point is that, say I have two groups in my hand. One group average Cat1 score is something like for 30 marks, 22. Another group average mark is 18 marks. Do I claim that the two groups have taken from the same population? Means that, do I pick the two groups from the same class? How do you say that?
So we would need to do an
if
F
their
test.
means are same, assuming that their populations are same, right?
Yes, sir.
When do you say that their populations are same? There are two cases. Not the two cases. The very important case is that their population variances are same. When their population variances are same, there may chance that samples may be from the same population, but still, if their variances are same, there sometimes you know that the class 1 and class 2, two different classes, the first class standard deviation and the second class standard deviation may likely same, but their averages may be different, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
If their averages also remains almost same, then can we say strongly that there is a more likely that the samples have taken from the same normal population?
Yes, sir.
So that is the idea to test the t-test as well F test. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Right. So it is a double checking to conclude it. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Any doubt?
So on the last question that you discussed, so we need to so we need to do the t test for that also to like double check.
The previous example, you mean to say?
Yes, sir.
Previous example, there it is asked to test the consistency. Consistency, what we look at? Only variance, right?
Yes, sir.
So variance test is enough for that.
Okay. Yes.
We are not looking there whether the samples have come from the same population or not.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
You have taken Sachin Tendulkar 10 matches score is one sample, remember. In 10 matches, there is some variability in the scores, right?
Yes, sir.
That variability is called as a sample variance. Then after you have taken what is that antibodies count of the 10 individuals. Now antibodies units is different from the cricket score units, right?
Yes, sir.
So in that case, if you wanted to compare the consistency of these two antibodies with Sachin Tendulkar's runs, you need to go ahead for coefficient of variance, remember, because their units are different. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Whether antibodies are consistent, like as Sachin Tendulkar runs in the 10 matches or not. So in that
Sir,
case,
sir, so
we
the
are going for coefficient of variance. If likely Sachin Tendulkar score is there and Sehwag score is there for the same 10 matches, the units are same, even it is enough for variance,
So we have to go in another class.
right?
yes, sir.
But
Sir,
in
so
both the
the
cases, we are going
coefficient.
just like that as coefficient of variance in order to conclude that. Because in the formula F test, if you are going to take S1 square by mu1, S2 square by mu2, if mu1 and mu2 are from the same populations, what will happen? Their population means remain same. Mu1 and mu2 will get cancelled. S1 square by S2 square only will left. Isn't it?
Yes, sir.
That's the idea, simple formula.
Yeah, I have a class. Can I leave?
Yeah, that's what I concluded. I'm just talking on your doubts. If you have any other classes, you can leave from the session. Any other doubts?
Sir, so the example that you mentioned of the Sachin Tendulkar score as well as the antibodies, so the coefficient of the variance will basically tell us if the number of
Sachin Tendulkar
antibodies
score,
have.
Sachin Tendulkar score, and comparing with the antibodies count, which one is consistent? Okay, whether Sachin
Yes, sir.
score is consistent or antibodies are consistent. Whose coefficient of variance is less? That means antibodies coefficient of variance or Sachin score coefficient of variance. Which one is lower? The corresponding parameter we can declare as more consistent. For instance, if Sachin Tendulkar scored 0 runs in every match of the 10 matches, then his coefficient of variance would be, his variance is 0, right?
Yes, sir.
There is no variability. When there is no variability, we need not go for the coefficient of variance again. That also seems that he is more consistent. Means that if there is no much of variability in the data, that person is more consistent enough. That is the meaning basically.
Yes, sir. And sir, if we are
So
given a
there is no variability in the sense if all the matches he scored only 0 runs, there is no variability at all. Okay, but still the formula says that he is more consistent. But we say that he was duck out in all the matches without scoring even a single run. How do we say that he is more consistent player? That is the gap in the formula. Understood, my dear students?
Yes, and sir, if we are given two sets of data, one about his scores and like one about the level of antibodies, and if we want to find out that if the level of antibodies had any effect on the performance in the cricket match, so then what kind of test do we need to do?
Actually, the two things are two different populations, right?
Yes, sir.
Antibodies is a different population and scores are a different population. You need to whether you are looking at whether antibodies are having any effect on the number of what is that, in playing the match better or not, right?
Yes, sir.
Then you record what is that antibody on that individual, and then that is one sample and another sample. You can go for t test for difference of means test.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But here another very interesting point is there actually. But their units or everything is changing, right?
Yes, sir.
When their units or everything is changing, is there effect or not? We are going to look at for another chi-square test. Alternatively, okay.
Yes, sir.
Earlier people have used that t-test itself. then when this kind of effectiveness need to address or understand, people can go having any dependency of see that the scores are dependent on antibodies or not. In that case, only one parameter is resulting, remember. Okay. Whether that is depends on antibodies or independent of the antibodies, and you are neglecting the effect of the other bodies, but the antibodies presence is there and you are not taking into the account of that. And in that case, the second, the third test, now T test we learned, F test we learned, third test is chi-square test. We can go for that. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay, right.
Finish it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is
Thank
finished,
you,
sir?
sir.
Yeah, who is speaking? Devendra?
Yes, sir. So can you please upload model 6, sir?
Yeah, definitely. Saturday I will upload.
So it's time very late, sir. We will prepare before you are starting.
So if I get time, I will upload it before also. But anyhow, the recorded sessions are there. All the content is available in the recorded sessions. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right.